Massive crowds, screaming at glass boxes, drowning in team colors. They are utterly devastated because a handful of athletes dropped a game. But then there is the silent continent, a world of people for whom the stadium roar is nothing but white noise. Look at their biology. They aren't just ignoring the broadcast. Their receivers are simply built to capture signals from a much quieter, much deeper satellite. Stay right here. The insights I'm about to reveal will completely shift the way you perceive the sports-crazed individuals in your circle. Actually, it makes you wonder, is it them or is it us? Honestly, let's look at the biology. Here is the secret no one mentions. Having zero interest in athletics doesn't make you dull. It doesn't mean you lack enthusiasm. It certainly doesn't mean you're broken. There is a captivating process occurring in your head. It is entirely distinct from the majority of the population, those who worship sports like a secular religion. Let's begin with the big question. Why is everyone so invested? People are pack animals. For eons, belonging to a clan meant staying alive. Your pack shielded you. It secured food. It ensured safety. And sports teams? They are tribal fires in high definition, where the smoke is made of pixels, and the war paint is a polyester jersey. When a fan observes their squad, their system pumps out oxytocin, the attachment chemical, the identical substance that makes you bond with your kids. Crazy, huh? Their mind actually dupes them, tricks them into believing these wealthy players are their own blood relatives. But here is where it gets engaging. Individuals who ignore sports usually possess what experts call reduced collective drives. Their identity isn't a moon reflecting the light of a distant star. It's a sun generating its own gravity. They are autonomous. They are quicker to think, I don't require a mass movement to feel whole. The data backs this up. Psychological research suggests that those with zero sports engagement have significantly lower in-group bias. In other words, they don't instinctively despise the rival city. Not just because they aren't wearing the same colors. Just wait, it gets stranger. What unfolds in the cranium of a die-hard supporter is genuinely alarming. You know that sensation when you check your phone for a message? The suspense? That is the brain's reward center. It becomes a high-stakes stock market, where every tackle is a trade and every goal is a market crash or a jackpot. The fan isn't just watching, they are a day trader lost in a storm of chemical volatility. It is biologically habit-forming. Brain imaging reveals the truth. Cheering for your club triggers the exact same pleasure pathways as betting, or other intensely gripping habits. And here is the twist. The doubt is what makes it so potent. You have no clue if your side will triumph. That volatility keeps the chemicals surging. It is a variable reward schedule, the most compelling conditioning loop known to behavioral science, the very mechanism that makes a casino floor so irresistible. The process is frighteningly close to other compulsive habits. Your mind doesn't differentiate between origins of chemical reward. It simply understands one thing. It craves more. But for those who ignore athletics, their reward circuits just aren't activated by second-hand rivalry. And this could be biological. Research from the University of Chicago indicates that mutations in dopamine receptor genes can actually forecast how deeply someone invests in competitive spectator events. Consider that. Your total lack of concern regarding who takes the championship might literally be etched into the foundation stones of your biological cathedral. In those quiet rooms, the ones that simply weren't designed to echo with cheers. But there is another level. Enthusiasts experience a phenomenon called berging, basking in reflected glory. If the squad triumphs, they scream, "We did it!" If the squad fails, they blew it. Observe the linguistic shift. Folks who aren't fixated on games are less prone to this mental separation. They possess a steadier sense of identity. Their self-worth is a mountain, not a kite. It doesn't need the wind of a victory just to stay in the air. They don't require external conquests to feel accomplished. Their self-worth is constant. It is less reliant on events entirely beyond their influence. Now, before the replies go crazy, I'm not claiming one path is superior. But I am stating there are valid mental distinctions, and comprehending them is captivating. Here is a detail that seems paradoxical. Supporters frequently rank higher on specific compassion scales. They rehearse worrying. They worry intensely about others' hardships, even if those people are strangers sporting their colors. So, why don't non-watchers feel that connection? It comes down to emotional distribution. Every human soul has a limited amount of electricity to give. Sports abstainers don't let theirs leak out into a massive stadium grid. Instead, they use that current to power the private inventions of their own minds. Social movements, intimate bonds, artistic endeavors, mental puzzles. A 2021 analysis discovered that individuals with minimal athletic engagement tested much higher in openness to new experiences and appreciation of aesthetics. They are deriving their emotional peaks from paintings, melodies, the outdoors, concepts. Their minds are hunting for the identical prize, significance, bonding, awe. They are simply locating it elsewhere. And let's get real about another factor. For certain folks, ignoring the game is effectively a protective shield. Perhaps they were teased during PE lessons. Perhaps they felt alienated by the locker room vibe. Perhaps they are rejecting the hostile rivalry frequently linked to fan culture. Or perhaps they just never grasped why grown-ups yell at screens over a sphere. Your apathy might possess a history. Or perhaps you just find it dull. Both are legitimate. Here is the segment that clarifies the massive gap between enthusiasts and skeptics. It boils down to how you process significance. Supporters derive value from the plot, the long shot, the turnaround, the legacy, the feud. It's gripping because it's volatile. It is unscripted theater, with real consequences. Folks who ignore athletics frequently view that instability as pointless. They reason, why devote feelings to a result I cannot influence, executed by strangers I will never meet, in a contest that impacts nothing in my reality? They aren't mistaken, but neither are the fanatics. It is simply distinct tactics for satisfying the human hunger for myth and purpose. One faction locates grand drama in a season finale. The other discovers it in a book, a partnership, an artistic endeavor, a lab breakthrough. This is what academics term parasocial attachment versus active involvement. Spectators forge unilateral bonds with franchises and stars. Non-sports individuals favor directing mental resources where there is genuine give and take, where their concern alters the result, where they are players, not onlookers. Neither is better. They are merely separate mechanisms for moving through existence. Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, the expert on optimal psychology, discovered something vital. Flow states, those intervals of total immersion, can be triggered by infinite pursuits. For some, it is viewing a match. For others, it is literally whatever else exists. And here is what is truly compelling. Individuals who don't fixate on leagues often describe feeling more grounded in their personal reality. They aren't dedicating 3 hours every weekend absorbing another person's battle. They are immersed in their own. It's a quiet revolution, one where, honestly, you realize you've been the protagonist all along. So, what is the takeaway? If you are indifferent to athletics, you aren't bypassing some essential human emotion. You are simply distinct. Your mind's pleasure circuits, your pack drives, your compassion distribution, they are all tuned uniquely, and that is totally fine. The next moment somebody inquires, "Did you catch the final?" and you honestly could not give a damn, recall this. You aren't defective. You aren't dull. You are just directing your own film, instead of paying for a ticket to watch someone else's highlight reel. And in your own story, the ending actually belongs to you. If this struck a chord, you are likely going to appreciate why introverted minds actually analyze data totally differently than the masses, and why that could be your greatest asset. Tap one of these clips to discover why you process things a bit differently than the herd.